absolutely. I'm Dorian Riley for the ones that may not know who I am. So I'll just start off with the first question, because if not, I'll just go on and I can totally do that. So I'm going to try not to do that since he's timing us. So what inspired you to write and publish your work? So that's a big one for me, because I'm not sure if everyone knows, but I was in a domestic violence relationship for a while, like at least 3 years. So that inspired me to write, because it felt like that was my outlet. And that's something that always kind of brought me joy, so I can kind of get out of my own head and just kind of throw myself into the writing aspect of it. And also I wanted other people to understand what that journey is like, because it's not one that you kind of just go through and then once you leave the relationship, you're just out of it, you're just done with it, because that is not true. The reality of it is you live through that part of your life. That was a part of your world at some point. So you still kind of take remnants of that with you, like in your daily life. Even now, as a survivor, I still have some of those reminders of that. Sometimes being in a big crowd, I might kind of look around because you never feel safe, you know. And so I think just knowing Christ and learning Christ, knowing that He's protecting me no matter where I'm at, just understand that things could have been a lot worse than they were, not that they were not bad. It just helps inspire me to get those things out. Like, people need to know, because domestic violence is such a shameful thing. Like, people just feel like they're just so ashamed, they don't want anybody to know. But the problem is, when we don't tell anybody, you know, the person that's going through it, they need to hear your story, may continue in that situation because they feel like it's just them. And I totally felt that way, so I definitely wanted to reach out to those people that are hurting in that way, because it's a real thing. I mean, it's things that happens in people's lives, and it's not just one age group, it's a multitude of age groups. So some people think it's just with younger people. That's just not true. Some people think it's just women or females, and that's not true either, you know. So I needed to get that out, and I feel that God placed that in my heart. Sometimes He allows us to go through situations so we can help other people. It's not always like, why me, why me? It's like, okay, it was me. Doesn't matter why at this point. I mean, it's happening. It's a real thing. So the one thing I wanted to definitely make sure I did was to get that out to other people that are going through that, have went through that, so they can kind of form their own path and to get out of that situation. So at first, I never thought about publishing it at first, because it's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable in that way. It just is. Even though God puts us in places and allows us to go through different things in our lives to help other people, doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean it's easy when you have to, like, stand here, like, kind of, you know, unload some things that you have went through in your life. You know, that's very difficult. But knowing I didn't want anybody else to continue to go through that, or to go through that type of thing, and not knowing that there's resources and things out here for them, I knew I had to. So it was more like a had to thing. And we all know, anyone that's like followers of Christ, if you have a job that's been placed in you, you can run from it as fast and as hard as long as you can, but you're going to circle back to the same thing. So you're going to just tire yourself out for no reason. I mean, you need to just do it, basically. The obstacles that I encountered and overcome in my journey, during my journey to being published, a lot of people are saying they got in their own way. And I can totally say that. I got in my own way, and it was because emotional reasons. I had the words, I had them. I'm full of words, and I'm an English major, so my word's right. So I have all the words to say, and I love wordplay, different things like that. But when it's something that you have went through, it's so different. Like, I am working on a novel about domestic violence, about my journey to get a little deeper. And I also started a YouTube station, Dorian Riley's, so it's at Dorian Riley's Corner. And I'll talk about different aspects of that domestic violence journey, during the journey and then afterwards, the aftermath. And it's still so hard. I mean, and that was so many years ago. But it's amazing at how you can just kind of think of an incident or one of those altercations you've been through, and it'll put you right back where you're at. Who wants to go back there? Not me. However, it seems like that's part of my journey. I need to do that. Because, like I said, we have been given certain talents, It has been installed in us by Jesus Christ, and we're not supposed to ignore those. We have to do something with it. It's gonna drive me crazy if we don't anyway. So it's a good thing to do those things. And we all, like my daughter said, we all have a story. We all do. And my story was one where I had to be vulnerable. And so sometimes if you want to help people, that's just what you're going to do. You know, if it means that much to you to help people. So I finally got out of my own way for a while, enough to go ahead and write all the poetry. Because I have like countless notebooks all around the house, I swear. I have a notebook somewhere that has some poems in there. So one day I just thought, like, let me just go ahead and start putting these all together. And finishing some of the ones that I didn't finish. So then I just put it together in a collection of poetry. And I went the self-publishing route also, because the words I had in there, the words that I wanted to speak, I did not want them to be changed. I did not want a publishing company telling me that, oh, this doesn't fit here. It was my life, it fits there. I didn't get to choose that. So yeah, it fits. And it's gonna stay the way I wrote it. It's written that way for a reason. So I had very good success with that because they only limit maybe how many words you do in a certain area. So that's something I had control over. Okay, I can cut things even though I don't like to cut things because I had them there for a reason, like I said. But whose phone is this? Just for the record, that was not me. It was not my fault.
I knew you needed a moment.
See how God works? Oh my God, he was so right. So one of the other things, I always like to read like a snippet of poetry, because like I said, that is definitely my outlet. And sometimes poetry can speak to people in ways that we cannot just, in a normal conversation. So this is one of the ways that I kind of spoke about what I knew I was not going to go through anymore. So it is entitled No More. So this is a Climbing Life's Mountains by Dorian D. Riley. So it is available on all book platforms and also in town at the Wordsmith Bookshop, the Taste of Candy. You can get it there. So this one is No More. The breakage runs deep. Sometimes so deep it's hard to sleep, and even harder to turn the other cheek. Knowing the next day is at hand, sometimes it comes so soon, we still haven't devised a plan. How do I fix this delicate piece? Maybe when I awaken tomorrow, it will all have ceased. It will be the end of being lied to, the end of being harassed, the end of dreadful reminders of the past. The end of worrying if others will make the right decisions. The end of praying for others to quit their harmful addictions. The end of relentless attacks. The end of brokenness. The end of lust. The end of relationships that have no trust. This list goes on and on. But before it is all done, we must choose how we will respond. We must fearlessly choose the brighter path. Although at times, you may still be mad, or maybe even sad. However, we must not continue to be used or abused, or stand for being treated rude. We must stand up and claim our life. Never mind who chooses not to follow. Trust and believe. If you trust Jesus, it will be all right. No more feeling blue. Because Jesus' sacrifice on the cross was for me and you. So much of my poetry is inspired by Christ, because when I was going through that situation, I did not know Christ. We didn't grow up in a church, so a lot of the things were just new to me. But as I look back at those things, I realized times that Christ was there, even though I didn't know who he was. It's just that still small voice, which I know is the Holy Spirit now. Like, I'm well aware now. But then going through those things, I was so young, I was like 14 when all these things started happening. But I didn't know who Christ was. So it was just that still small voice saying, okay, say this at this time. Don't say that. Don't leave yet. Go that way, don't go this way. it's just so many things that I can just remember, and he was just always there, just was always there. And it's just amazing how you have to look back sometimes and remember those things, like, oh, that's what that was. That voice that I didn't know what it was, you know? It was just an amazing journey. In a lot of ways, it taught me a lot about people. So I think it's a lot of my poetry is about healing, because so many people are hurting, and sometimes they're not going to say it, you know, because you have to be vulnerable to do that. And that's hard. Like I said, even to this day, it's hard. It's hard because it's a real thing. I lived it. I'm not telling the story of someone else. You know, it's a story of me, you know. And to know me is to know that's part of my life. So I have some friends that sometimes will ask me questions, and sometimes they'll say, like even just recently, somebody just asked me a question. I forgot what he asked me. But he said, oh, well, just answer, like, don't put anything about the domestic violence in there. Well, I can't, because that was a part of my story. So you want me to answer a question about and leave out the part of my life that was a real part of my life? I mean, you can't, like, act like it didn't happen, you know? It doesn't make you any different, but it does make you different, if we're, you know, being honest about it. How has the writing and publishing journey changed me? Okay. So I am a lot more outspoken, if you hadn't noticed. So I find ways to enjoy life a lot more. It's very easy to make me laugh in underwear. Oh, such like that wasn't even funny. So, but I like laughing at stuff, and it's very easy to do that. So it doesn't take a lot. So just kind of being around people, allowing them to support you, and like telling them when you're not having a good day. It's okay. I mean, we are human. And people want to interact with real people, not someone that's always putting on a persona. Like, I'm not always happy. You're not either. So let's just be okay with that. Doesn't mean you have to be rude to people. I'm not saying that. So I'm never rude to people, because I know how it feels to not be treated right, to not be treated fairly, and to be treated less than, basically, just to be treated less than. I know how that feels, so I would never do that to anyone else. Another way that it's changed me is I am, like I said, a lot more outgoing. So I started my business, the 360 Party Zone. If you guys, I'm not sure if anybody ever seen like the videos and the photos that we do. It just really lifts people's spirits. And I just love that. For even like 30 seconds of their life, they can kind of get out of their own heads and just have fun and watch themselves on the video and on the photos. So I just love that part of it, because I've had so many times in my life, especially during that journey, that I was not happy. I was depressed. I just was all these not so good feelings. So I just wanted to give someone else something different than what I had to go through. So thank you all for listening.
I'm gonna give her another hand.